My name is Ara Dildilian. I live in Fonda, Old Trail, New York. I was born in Marsoobian, and Marsoobian is located probably about 50 miles south from Samsun on the Black Sea. It was a college town, and Anatolia College was very close to our house. In fact, our house was a part of the campus. Merzifonlu was a very old city, and with a very large Armenian colony, not a colony, but settlement. Yeah. The old part of the city, the citadel, was the Armenian church, and Armenian sections all around it. There was a very small Greek population there. It was a new settlement. Of course, Greeks were living in that neighborhood also for centuries, because that's considered a part of Pontus. It was quite an intellectual community. Armenians had very good schools, and the Anatolia College was established there, which became a source of inspiration probably, or enlightenment. And there was the American hospital there, very massive stone building. Really, it was a good college community atmosphere, concerts, lectures, museum. I know I was a small child then, but our neighbor, Dr. Manisadian, who was quite a scientist, he was the curator of the museum. Perhaps I acquired my interest in minerals and rocks and antiques and you name it from him. Yeah. Really, Armenians, as far as I can see at that time, they were not asking for a rebel independence. They were just hoping that they would be allowed to continue to live in the country and prosper and continue their culture and expand, and they were a very strong element over there. The doctors and the dentists and the printers, and those were all Armenians, and the Turks didn't have those cultural levels. Perhaps we lived in a world of our own. I, for one, know very little Turkish, but never have occasion to use Turkish, and seldom would go. Well, I used to do the shopping for the family. I used to, as a young kid, I used to go downtown to do it, and I knew enough Turkish to do just that, to say how much and so on. But I did not know much Turkish, and we did not have much Turkish association with Turks. We never played with Turks. In fact, going through the Turkish section, we just didn't walk through it, because you could never know whether a rock would hit you over the head, or a young Turk will come and slap you and kick you, and we were taught very strongly not to strike back, because there were other Turks, older people over there prompting them. I have a big scar here, right here, that happened from a rock that on the way home.
Or was that on the right side of your head?
What?
On the right side of your head?
Yes.
So that this way of life was the normal way of life, well, even under the better time.
Better time. There was fear of the Turks. Turkish men went into the army.
They went into the army.
Armenians were never given guns, but they picked up every Armenian male between the age of 16 and 60, really, and
as though he were going to be sent into the army.
But they were in labor units. But I doubt whether many of those survived.
Yes, this.
At least from Merzifonlu, I do not know later on of anybody who was drafted that survived. All those who survived, perhaps, were escaped somehow, went into the mountains and survived that way.
Yes.
By that time, Armenians were not fooled that this is what was happening.
Yeah.
The men were being picked up, and they just were wondering when it will happen, and to the rest of the group.
Yeah.
And then orders would come that on a certain day these street people would be ready. In the morning the oxen-driven wagons would come, and people were allowed to take just a few of their belongings, and you'd see them go. And endless. They'd go, and up the hill, our house was on a hill, they had to go that way, and its surprising thing was that the rumor was that the same drivers would be back with the cart within a day or so, and to take another load, and they knew that the people were not being driven very far, and that they just to a certain point, beyond that, they were either being massacred, or the women and the girls taken away from them, and the others just walked until they dropped dead. In fact, I remember one neighbor to the south of us, downhill. The whole family were over there, and they had a baby boy. And I was asked to take care of the baby boy, and of course they were waiting for the ox wagons to come and to pick them up. And then the word came that they were there, and just as they were leaving, I remember that woman. Kick him.
I didn't get that clearly.
She said, keep the baby, and we kept the baby.
Oh, I see.
And that baby stayed with us until the war was over. We found his grandmother. Grandmother stayed with us later on. And he is in Greece now. And that's the way it happened. That it just and once the first wave was over, and it wasn't too bad. They were tolerant. Of course, the houses were all torn down. All the furniture went to the churches. Then people started escaping. One factor was that, I should say, all in all, 18 or 19 Armenian college students, male students, escaped and came to our house and to my aunt's house, which was a short distance away. Those people were kept. We had dug underground tunnels around the house, in the house, and those men would stay in the tunnels, and we had as a family, I think that my uncles and father were quite ingenious in some of the ways that they designed things, and these tunnels were built in such a way, and they designed periscopes. I remember one was in a swallow's nest, and they built, this was near the open attic there, they built more or less a treehouse type of a thing with toys, as if one of us was sitting there, but actually, and from that periscope, there was one of those boys always was there, watching anytime any Turkish soldiers or things came into the neighborhood, he would give the signal, everybody would go underground, and then he would be the last one to go down, and these tunnels were pretty well made. At night they would come up and sleep on the floors.